Hi, I'm Eve Young, Jerusalem Post economics and domestic affairs correspondent, here in the studio with Seth Frantzman, the Jerusalem Post senior Middle East analyst. Thanks for being here, Seth.
Thank you for having me.
Let's start with the Houthis. Given recent U.S. operations against them, what are their capabilities now? Um, and is Iran supporting these capabilities?
The Houthis control a part of Yemen, and especially a mountainous part. So one of their main attributes is that they can hide missiles and drones in mountains and caves. It makes it kind of difficult to get at their capabilities. But I think what's known is that for the last decade, they've stockpiled ballistic missiles that are of increasingly long range so they can reach Israel, as well as one-way attack kamikaze drones. All of this is basically Iranian technology that was trafficked to the Houthis, and then they basically expanded on it, found ways to manufacture it locally. They have, of course, tens of thousands of men with small arms, but their capabilities are not that strong. But we've seen that, ballistic missiles can wreak havoc.
Is there a merit? Should we be concerned in Israel about the Houthis' recent threat to shut down Israel's airspace by continually bombarding the airport?
The Houthis have no way to actually shut down Israel's airspace, but as I think we saw with the ballistic missile that fell next to an airport, I think most commercial airliners feel that if there's even a tiny percent chance that your plane will be knocked out of the air by a missile or your people on the ground will be killed, they won't take that chance. So in a sense, the Houthis can achieve a lot, like more bang for the buck, basically because if you just create a tiny threat, like a 0.5% chance of a missile falling on an airplane, lots of people will, in a sense, create a soft boycott of Israel. So it's not that Israel can be militarily defeated, but it can be very embarrassing. And, of course, you can have casualties. If one of these rockets gets through or shrapnel falls, people can die. So I think it's that they play off the small percentages, and that's why it's an extreme threat.
Does Israel have the capability to really deter the Houthis, fight the Houthis, and damage their capabilities? What are we working with here?
I think it will be difficult for Israel because we have to remember Saudi Arabia, which is much closer to the Houthis, and a big country, a wealthy country with Western weapons, just like Israel, like F-15s and things. They fought, a 7-year war against the Houthis, and the Saudis didn't win. So the fact is that if the Saudis couldn't do it and they couldn't defeat these kind of penniless tribesmen in the mountains, it will be difficult for Israel. Israel's thousands of kilometers away. It's not easy to wage a long-range campaign like that. Israel isn't going to do some sort of D-Day type invasion of Houthi land. I think the past has proven that it's very difficult to deter them and defeat them. And so someone will have to think of other out-of-the-box ways of thinking if they want to achieve that.
Any kind of ideas of out-of-the-box options that exist?
I mean, some people have suggested that a direct threat to Iran might get the Iranians to give the Houthis a call and say, hey, listen, calm it down. Another way to, perhaps would be to find ways to track the supplies. Where are the missiles coming out from? Use big data or AI, whatever. You track where the missiles are going in and out of, find the caves, find the rat line of the supplies and get it back to wherever those supplies are and blow up the propellant, blow up the missiles, blow up the solid fuel and the liquid fuel. So go after it that way. Or assassinate one of the leaders. I mean, there's all sorts of ideas out there probably. The question is, does anyone actually want to try to do it?
Great. Seth, thanks so much.
Thank you.